Now we're going to go and switch gears for our GMA cover story. We got an exclusive look at the deadly substance that's a problem in too many school districts across the country, asbestos. One teacher from Philadelphia is now speaking out as she battles cancer. TJ Holmes had a chance to speak with her, and you have that story, TJ.
Yeah, Stray, Philadelphia schools are overwhelmed with asbestos. This teacher taught in Philly schools for 30 years. She now has a cancer directly linked to asbestos. Now, we found out about this summer, but she wanted to remain anonymous until now, speaking to us now for the first time with a warning to parents. She's touched countless lives in her 30 years as a Philadelphia public school teacher. But this summer, at just 51 years old, Leah DeRusso had to give up her cherished career.
How much does that eat at you to not be in a classroom this year?
I didn't know it was my last year, and I just feel like I didn't get to end it the way I wanted to end it.
In August, Leah, a mother of two, says she was diagnosed with mesothelioma, an aggressive and deadly cancer of the lungs and abdomen. Major health organizations say it's almost always caused by long-term exposure to asbestos.
I don't have a future anymore. I planned on spending my golden years with someone that I just married a few years ago, and that doesn't look like that's going to happen. I feel like I have tomorrow. That's about it.
Philadelphia schools have a known asbestos problem. These photos from inside Philly schools show what the Teachers Union's Health and Welfare Fund describes as crumbling, potentially harmful conditions. Once considered a miracle material, asbestos was widely used in insulation and soundproofing. Experts say covered and undisturbed, it's not dangerous, but years of wear and tear can cause it to become airborne. Breathing and ingesting its needle-like fibers over time can cause a whole host of cancers. Government agencies, including the EPA, say there is no safe level of asbestos exposure. The two schools where Leah spent her 30 years teaching both have had documented asbestos problems.
If she was exposed to elevated levels of asbestos in the two buildings in which she taught, it would be a causative factor in her developing her mesothelioma.
I was completely unaware, as are my colleagues and staff and students, that there even was asbestos present in the school building. I did not know that the steam pipes behind me were wrapped in asbestos, and I touched them, and I hung clotheslines to hang student work, and I used it because I was creating a home for my students.
When I walk into a school in Philadelphia, the conditions are just horrific.
In 2018, a Pulitzer-nominated Philadelphia Inquirer investigation revealed dangerous asbestos conditions in 7 out of the 11 local public schools they tested.
We're not talking about some obscure part of the school like the boiler room. We're talking about highly trafficked area where kids are running around.
After that investigation, reporter Wendy Ruderman says the district did some cleanup in those 7 schools, including the 2 where Leah worked. Leah knows of no other place she was exposed to asbestos.
What do you tell the teachers now who are still going to those classrooms every day?
I'm very concerned. If I make a classroom safe for my students, I expect the school district to make all schools safe for students and staff.
This is the kind of condition that can lead to exposure.
Environmental scientist Jerry Roseman is called in by the district and teachers union to investigate asbestos complaints in Philly schools.
I'm often seeing damaged, exposed, and available asbestos that are in areas where there are children and staff. I have kind of a searing image in my mind of a child who has his arm around an asbestos-covered pipe in a gym, and he's sucking his thumb. That's a problem.
He says oftentimes he sees exposed asbestos that's been present for months, even years.
It's not right. It really is not right. Asbestos is probably our most catastrophic hazard. If you get sick from an asbestos exposure, you're very sick. The only good news is that in these situations for people not in direct contact, the level of risk is small.
We spoke with some worried public school parents who have faced some tough decisions.
It's like Dante's Inferno. It's like every day you're making this horrible decision over and over.
I trust that when my kid goes to school, he's going to be safe. This is the worst thing that could happen that's happened to me, because I'm sorry. Yeah.
Charmaine Mitchell pulled her son out of a local elementary school in early November.
And my frustration came in when I realized all this time Alan has white stuff on his pants.
Talk to the parents of Philadelphia right now.
You need to speak up for your child and make sure that every day they go to a safe space, and that every child in every school, not just the affluent ones, are worth it.
The Philadelphia School District tells ABC News the district realizes that it has a serious challenge with asbestos in our more than 200 school buildings. Our goal is to have the most effective response and to eventually remove as much asbestos from our schools as possible. But for Leah, cleanup may have come years and years too late. She started the process of suing the school district, and she vows to fight, both now for her life and the schools.
If you get the opportunity, would you go back to teaching in a Philadelphia school?
I don't know. I don't know if I would feel comfortable knowing that I'm going to a place where someone didn't tell me that there was a toxic substance and that it was in my midst, 2 feet from my head, every day, all day.
The Philadelphia School District did just this week announce an accelerated cleanup plan. Leah hopes that maybe her coming forward had something to do with that. And if something positive can come out of her coming forward, that's all at this point she really wants.
How's Leah doing now?
She's scared. I mean, she has a surgery coming up in December. She doesn't know how much longer she has. She's in constant pain. She has 2 kids. Son was there saying, you know what, in these days, a teenage son. So I talked to my mom forward thinking about my older self. So I asked her the other day how much a wedding ring would cost. I don't know if I'll be able to ask her that later. That type of stuff she's dealing with. But she's also, that physical pain, but emotional, the school district hasn't reached out to her. Not to say our fault or our bad, but just to send a flower or say, how you doing? That stuff hurts after 30 years in a place. So she's going through a difficult, and now there's a chance she could lose her health insurance. All right. So it's just.
We got to follow up.
Yes, there's a GoFundMe page for. That's one thing, but still, she's got this constant worry and constant pain. It's just, it was very difficult.
TJ, so glad you went there.
It's very difficult to talk to her.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that, TJ.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.